Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Press Box. This is John Carter, and very pleased this afternoon to have with us the St. Clair boys soccer team, Coach Kevin Smiley, Ryan Johnson, Bradshaw Roberts, and Ethan Peckman. And guys, thanks for coming in, Coach. Nice to meet you. So, brand new coach to East China and St. Clair. Can you give us a little bit about your background and how you kind of got into this?
I've been coaching since '99. Started off helping somebody coach locally for a travel team, and it progressed into coaching probably 5 or 6 different clubs. Still involved with the National Soccer Club based out of St. Clair, but it's just progressed ever since then.
What's the big step going from a travel team into a varsity program like this?
Probably the player draw. With travel soccer, you basically do a tryouts with a couple hundred kids, and they can come from anywhere. Mm-hmm. Where high school, you're restricted to the kids, obviously, in the school district.
Yeah.
So, and it's, with travel soccer, you're restricted to one age group, where high school soccer, it's 4 classes of kids, as opposed to just one age group.
What do you find yourself doing differently between the two?
Not much.
Okay.
I mean, basically, practicing in game situations, pretty much treat them the same, just adapting to what you have.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about this year's team. And you're in the gold division, kind of a tough division, some very good teams in it. Tell us about how you've started.
Started off, we've only played 3 games so far, and we haven't played a division game yet. Our first division game will actually be Wednesday. But so far, I like what I've seen. So coming in, I didn't know a whole lot what to expect, but I'm pretty pleased with what we've done so far.
I know you had a really good game against our rivals at Marine City. Tell us a little bit about that.
It was a very good game. I think we could have ran the score up a little bit, but we didn't want to make somebody too mad. So come back and bite us, because I know they're kings in football, so we'll take what we can get in soccer.
Okay. So tell us a little bit more about the gold division. I know, again, I think Lakeshore is very good. Marysville is very good. Tell us about some of the key teams in that division.
Yep. Well, last year, I think these guys finished 2nd place to Lakeshore. Actually, we did play Lakeshore so far. So we played 1 division game so far, and we did lose to them. I think it was 4-0. So, but it's one of our first games, so we're still learning how to play. And with the team that we have, I mean, we're starting 5 freshmen, which is not an easy task, but we're handling it.
I was going to ask you, what are the strengths and weaknesses of the team? I mean, from a strength standpoint, what does your team do well?
We've got good leadership so far. From day one, we had 2 of our captains, Bradshaw and Ryan, step up as captains right away. The way I work my captains is I pick 2 captains, let the team decide on the other one. Okay. And right from the get-go, those 2 stepped up and showed exactly what you want from the captain. So it was nice.
How do you integrate the young guys, the freshmen, into a varsity team? That's got to be a little difficult, given the kind of the difference in not just age, but even physical.
It is. There's a lot of things you can do. From the drills you set off is you don't let the freshmen just group up in freshmen. So if you're doing something with 3 or 4 kids, you make them go with some upperclassmen. And a lot of the upperclassmen took it upon themselves to grab some of the freshmen.
Okay.
So.
Good. So tell me, how, brand new coach and obviously coming into a program that's had some success, but is looking for like a long-term program. How do you set that up? What are you kind of doing to kind of continue the success that St. Clair's had?
Try to get them to play off seasons together. Like I said, I'm involved with one of the local clubs around here, so that if we can get teams or players that don't have a team that they're playing on, if they can train and do stuff off season together to kind of get that familiarity with each other, it helps. But just trying to set it so it's consistent every single year, coming back and forth, that they're familiar with it.
I always ask coaches, and normally we see the coaches in the season, and soccer in particular, lots of games, comparatively a short time period. How do you do your preparation in between games? Even scouting other teams. How do you prepare for a particular opponent?
You get friendly with other coaches.
Okay. Yeah.
Being friends with other coaches, you kind of hear what other teams' strengths and weaknesses are, And a lot of the kids know each other on other teams. So they'll say, watch out for this kid or watch out for that kid. This is what they like to do. So it helps.
So if you could sum up your philosophy, is it do you want it to be an attacking type team, a really strong defensive team? What is it that you want to have define your team?
I generally like to stay strong down the middle, whether it's our center D, center mids, and then our up top players. Our outside, you can generally adapt to it, but if you're strong down the middle, it's a pretty good base to go by.
Okay. And how are we doing with numbers? I mean, is there a JV program this year?
There's not a JV program this year. I don't think there's been a JV program for 3 or 4 years.
3 years.
3 years. Yeah, so they've been, the boys' side is hurting more than the girls' side for numbers, but they're getting there. And then we're going to try to do things to build up the program so that we can get more involvement.
Okay.
So.
Thanks, Coach.
No problem.
Well, let's talk to you guys a little bit, and maybe just start out by Ryan. We'll start with you. How'd you get started in soccer? How long have you been playing?
I've been playing for probably my whole life. The first coach I had during high school, Coach Fry, he had like a program called like Soccer for Tots or something
Oh, really?
like that.
Okay.
And like that's where I got started, and then I just basically went up from there.
Now, who did your parents play? Brothers or sisters?
My sisters play, but they were mainly like the basketball kids, and they didn't really play soccer that much. But they kept saying how good Coach Fry was and how funny he was. So then, I'm like the first one in my family to like really go this far into soccer.
Okay. How about you, Bradshaw? How'd you get started?
I started when I was 5 playing AYSO. My older brothers played AYSO, and then my parents got me into it, and that's what I've been doing up to high school. And then high school started getting competitive and went from there.
What do you like about it?
I don't know. It's just whenever I'm out on that field, I just have the urge to do the best I can, and I don't know.
Okay. Ethan, what about you? How'd you get started?
I started because my dad coached all of us, my siblings as kids, in kind of like AYSO. It was called Warren Youth. And then I went to new teams and just went on from there. I started when I was real young, and I went to travel then, and now I'm here at high school.
So I was going to ask you, what your road to the varsity. So you play travel as well as ASO, and what kind of travel teams did you play on?
I played for Fraser for I think 3 years, and then I switched to Byrne, and I might be going to nationals.
Okay, excellent. So Ryan, what position do you play?
I'm the sweeper, center defensive back, but I would really like to play up top.
I've never heard a defenseman in any sport say that they'd rather play defense than offense. I don't know what that's about, but that's probably true of every sport ever.
He picks his points to point that out, too.
Exactly. So for those of us who haven't had a lot of experience in soccer, tell us a little bit about the responsibilities of that position.
Basically, you're like the last line of defense before the goalkeeper for the net. You have the right side defense and the left side defense, and when someone's coming down the middle and like our stopper gets beat, or like our first line of defense gets beat, it's like kind of our job, like Bishai and I's. We make sure that we communicate so one steps when the other stays back there. If they go to the side, we can just make sure that they won't be able to get in the middle for a good shot.
Yep. So Bradshaw, I take it from that you're also a defenseman?
Yeah.
Do you have hopes and dreams of offense as well, or are you happy where you are?
I do not like offense. I like staying back. When I get into offense, I just want to give the ball to someone else. I don't feel comfortable up there. I just want to get back and stay on defense.
So in your mind, what makes a good defensive soccer player? What kind of characteristics do they have to have?
You want to be able to predict what the offender is going to do. So if you know what they're going to do before they actually do it, you can beat them to the ball.
Okay. And so that anticipation helps you be able to kind of sniff out what a play is going to be.
Yeah.
Excellent. So Ethan, what about you? What position do you play?
I play striker alongside Scott, and striker is a position basically about scoring.
Yep.
And midfield helps a lot out with the strikers. We'll come back for corner kicks, goal kicks, stuff like that, and basically just trying to score.
So what's your best move as a scorer?
My best move.
Or maybe I should ask the defenseman what his best move is, seeing you probably play against him in practice. Well, so Bradshaw, what's Ethan's best move as a scorer?
He has a lot of footwork, so he likes to move the ball around
Yeah.
a lot to try to get you off balance and then just slip right next to you.
Tell me a little bit about your roles as captains. What kind of things do you guys have to do with? Coach mentioned you have a lot of younger players, a lot of freshmen. What have you guys done, Bradshaw? What have you done to make sure they've kind of integrated well into the team?
A lot of the freshmen aren't really aggressive out on the field. They get nervous, so we're basically there to make sure that they're stepping to the ball. They try to get there first.
You ever heard the term defer? They defer to older players or their teammates, hoping somebody else does something because they're younger. Is that kind of what's happening there?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Ryan, from your perspective, what are some of the things the team does really well, you think?
I think that for how young they are, they actually go after the ball pretty well. They pass a lot. They are very well at not being like afraid of what to do. They know that they have options here and there, and they communicate very well. So we know where we can pass.
I wanted to ask you, what's it like playing on the artificial turf in the stadium? Do you like that better than grass, or what's your feeling about that?
I like grass better personally because it's just if the grass is a little bit longer, I think I can control the ball better than turf because turf is like so short that sometimes like if like you're trying to do a move and you touch it just a little bit too hard, it'll just get just far enough so you can't get it and the defenseman get it.
Okay. Is it a little bouncier, in other words? Yeah. Is that, yeah. Okay. So, Bradshaw, from your perspective, now you're a senior this year, right? You played 4 years. What have you learned? Go back and think about yourself as a freshman or a sophomore. How are you different now as a senior player?
As a freshman, I was really scared and nervous. There's a lot of guys who were bigger than me, but as a senior, I see now that it doesn't matter their size. If you're more aggressive and you want it more, you can beat them every single time.
That's interesting. So, Ethan, let's throw that to you. You're obviously a little smaller than these two.
Right.
As a striker, how physical is it out there on the field?
It gets pretty physical. A lot of the people that I've gone up against are 6 foot, they're big, very aggressive. But yeah, it's a lot different going from travel in your age group to going against playing way older people.
Yeah, 18-year-olds instead of all 14 and 15-year-olds has got to be a little bit of a challenge. The other thing, guys, is there's just so much running in soccer. I mean, Ryan, how do you get prepared for all the running you have to do during the soccer season?
Well, usually I'm really bad at being in fit off season. And then I'm like, I got a month until actual practice starts, so I just wake up, maybe run an hour or two every morning, and then I'll stop for another week for some reason, I don't know why, and then conditioning works pretty well.
Bradshaw, what about you? Is that the hardest thing about soccer, all the running, or is it something else that we don't really understand that's the hardest thing for you?
Running is really hard. If you running back and forth on the field, you get tired, but the other player is still not. You have to be able to push yourself to keep going even when you're exhausted.
Yeah. Ethan, how important is communication? I mean, you see it on TV and you see this big field and people running after balls. Are you talking a lot out there? Is there a lot of communication going on between the players?
Communication is one of the key things during a soccer game because you could be stuck in a spot and if someone's to like your right, let's say, and you can't go to your left and they don't say anything, then you're going to lose the ball, give the other team the ball. But if they tell you, hey, I'm to your right, or pass it back, that's like opening up a whole side of the field.
So you guys are both defensemen. From your perspective, what's the hardest type of player to play against? What gives you the most trouble, Ryan?
The person that gives me the most trouble is a person that's not so experienced up top that like he likes to play with the ball, but he uses his speed and tries to use his like body positioning to get around me because if like I'm going up against someone that's like skilled like Ethan, I'll be able to just push him to the side of the field and make him pass. But if I'm going up against someone with the speed of Bishaw and he just like kicks around me and can beat me to the ball, then it's going to be like me trying to just dead sprint back to the goal so they don't get a good shot.
How about you, Bradshaw? Who's the toughest guy? The guy you don't want to see come in on you dribbling down the field?
Someone with good footwork is really hard to defend against. like Ryan said, that if they just kick it around and try to make a break for it, I can usually catch them and body them off the ball and take it from them. But if someone who knows what they're doing and can keep it away from me long enough for someone, their own teammate, to pass to, it makes it harder on me.
Yeah. So, Ethan, as a freshman coming in, from your perspective, what's been the biggest change for you in terms of going from travel ball up to the varsity?
The biggest change had probably been the size, since I'm obviously not big or tall or anything. The size really affected me going from playing against kids my age, my height, to 18-year-olds who are,
30
just
pounds heavier.
right,
5
way
inches
bigger
taller.
than me, and just push me around and off the ball.
So I'm always interested in talking to captains because you guys usually have a unique perspective on the coach. So, and I didn't give you that preface on this question, but I mean, one of the things I always like to ask is, can you tell when the coach is really getting upset on the sideline? I mean,
Yeah.
So, what does it look like?
You have practice after this.
So when I see Coach really get upset on the sideline, what I notice is he likes to stand up a lot, and if he likes how something is played out in the field, he says nice job. But if he gets upset and it keeps happening for a while, he'll just kind of cross his arms, shake his head, look at the bench, crack a joke to the teammates, say, "What are you talking about?" Get someone else in the field for him that wants to play. I've noticed.
Ethan, you've been playing soccer for a very long time. For those of us who don't know that much about soccer, what's the hardest thing about it?
Probably running. Running is 80% of soccer. It's the most important thing. You have to be in shape. You have to be able to run I think averages 6 miles a game or something.
Wow.
So it's
And
definitely
it's not jogging, it's sprinting,
right.
correct?
It's sprinting, and you have to be in good shape to be able to play soccer, competitive soccer.
Yeah, yeah. Rachel, one of the other questions I always ask teams, especially with the seniors, is: are there any kind of traditions or superstitions that you guys have as a team? And can you tell us about those?
There's not really that many superstition. There's some tradition that was back with Coach Fry. He had this really old national anthem, 1968 World Series Game 5, that he would always play for us. And then this year I found a CD with it on it, and I brought it to our next home game, and I played it. And then there was only 3 of us left that was on that team. Everyone was looking around like, what is this song? Who got this?
We're just jamming out too.
Yeah, to the 1968 Tigers World Series game, right? Well, listen, guys, I appreciate having a chance to talk to you, and I mean, obviously, interesting mix with a couple seniors and a freshman coach. How did you come up with this group for your captains?
Well, like I said, I picked the 2, and then I always let the team decide on the last one. And actually, the voting broke down to Ethan and one other player, and I let the 2 other captains decide. And I told them I don't have a problem with either one, but the advantage to keeping someone besides a senior is what you can teach them going forward, so that next year, when these 2 aren't here, Ethan can kind of take the reins and pass things on.
That continuity of
Yeah.
continuing with it. And Ethan, I got to say that it's got to say some interesting things about your maturity also. So that's impressive. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So, Coach, let's talk about kind of coming up here. You're just starting into your league season.
Right.
I mean, how do you see this going forward? What look like to be the stronger teams in the league?
Stronger teams, I think, again, are going to be Lakeshore, who we played, and then we play them once more. And then I think Marysville is going to be the other top team. I think the rest of the teams are a lot closer than those 2. But like I said, these guys finished 2nd place last season. They did lose quite a bit of talent on that team, but I think the incoming freshmen that we got should hopefully carry us over.
Okay. And just from the standpoint, when do you play? And most of your home games are at the stadium, correct?
Yep. All our home games are at the PAC, but game days are either Monday, Wednesday, or Friday. Not so many Fridays because football.
Right.
With every sport or every school has football on Fridays. So It's mostly Mondays and Wednesdays, but this week we have, tomorrow we're against Warren Woods Tower, and then Friday we're actually up and playing against Port Huron.
Excellent, excellent. Well, and always looking forward with coaches. The district that we play in is a little bit oddly shaped.
Yes, we are the only one down here. Everyone's up in the middle of the state, so it should be a interesting mix.
Okay. Well, listen, guys, again, thank you very much for coming in. Coach, nice to meet you. Really enjoyed talking here this afternoon. And again, I certainly encourage everyone to go out and see the boys soccer team. Very interesting game on a high school level, and I'm sure you'll be very, very entertained. Again, thanks a lot, guys. And this is John Carter saying goodbye from Press Box, and we'll see you again next week.